So why let go? You know that people will say, well, you should just let go. But why let go? Have you had that thought, like, why should I let go of this? So have you consider the cost of holding on and all the things that you're holding on to and how that is stopping you? Last week we talked about cultivating your own walk for peace. Today is about letting go. Hello and welcome to Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. For women who are great, it's saying yes to others. Not always as great. It's saying yes to themselves. I'm Claudia Braun, mindset, lifestyle, and EFT coach for women ready to start saying yes to themselves. And if you have not downloaded your 3 strategies to say yes to you, now's the time to do it. The link is in the show notes right below the video. Thank you for being with me today. I'm so excited about this topic of letting go. I was thinking about a client of mine who we first started working together, and she said to me, Claudia, I'm just so angry all the time. I work in a very intense industry and I'm on the phone a lot and I just want to scream, and sometimes I'm just really angry with them, my coworkers, and I just can't stop. And that's what had her say yes to working with me, because she realized on some level it wasn't good for her. And when I took her through a call and helped her see the cost of her holding on and not letting go, she could feel the difference. And what she realized from our work together is how the anger she was holding, all that anger that she felt, she internalized it because she felt terrible about herself, that she felt angry and was angry at people and wished she could treat people better, wished she wasn't saying the things she was saying, but she couldn't stop herself. And she also realized the cost to her because she was so worn out and exhausted from the anger. And because of the anger and the way she was at work, it fueled this inability to stop. And so she worked all the time. So not only was she feeling all this anger, but it was also putting her in a box and making her life very small. Her inability to let go, didn't know how to let go. She had been doing therapy, she'd been doing all kinds of stuff, wasn't really working. Her inability to let go was holding her in what felt like just a vice where she had no choice. And it was a result of the work that we did together. She began to experience herself in a very different way. And what she said was, I really like the me that I am and that I am becoming. And I'm ready for, she's experienced 2.0 and now she's working on 3.0. So know that wherever you are on this continuum, holding on, letting go, there's more. And that's the good news, because there's more available to you. So what I was thinking about in this letting go and what we can really examine here is the cost of holding on. Because, you know, there's a song that says, just let it go, let it go. It's easy to say the words, just let it go. But not always as easy to do it in the moment, live it. And so let's talk about the why of that and what really is the cost of holding on and not letting go. So in the moment, perhaps you've got a situation in your life right now that you're holding on to. Maybe it's causing you anger, frustration, sadness, depression, fear. And maybe you tell yourself, I just let it go. But then you go back to thinking about it, worrying about it, obsessing about it, fearing about it. And there you are. And frequently that's what the mind does, right? It's this loop that you get stuck on. A thought kicks into your head. Can't let it go. Can't let it go. And so then you keep repeating it over and over again until you just sort of feel worn out, exhausted by it, as my client said. Just felt like she was just so tired. So when is the time to be letting go? It is really when you start to have that thought that starts to take you down the rabbit hole of fear, worry, anxiety. Perhaps a friend, colleague, partner has done something you didn't like, found offense with, and you find your mind repeating it. Why did they do it? Why did they keep doing it? Why wouldn't they stop? They knew better. They shouldn't have done that. And so your mind keeps repeating it. And then you get caught in that loop and you get sucked down into that feeling of anger, irritation, maybe resentment, maybe retaliation, like all those feelings which make you feel bad. And so how do you let that go? And the beginning of that is by looking at that thought that you picked up and started fanning the flames of. Because that's what happens in the mind. A thought kicks in, and then you start entertaining it. And then you start focusing on it and allowing it to dominate your thoughts. And as you allow it to dominate your thoughts, it gets bigger and it takes up more space. And then it starts to seem as if it has power over you. And so just like we talked about last week about this peace, internal peace practice, this letting go is really about being willing to look at that thought that you are giving your full attention to, and then you're adding things to it, and so you're making the story in your mind get bigger. That's where the letting go needs to begin. And it starts by becoming really good at seeing what you're doing. Because it's not until you get really good at seeing what you're doing do you begin to be able to start to let go. I've shared before that so many times when I start working with clients or when we're in a session together, they're not really sure what's up. Something's up. They don't feel right. Not exactly sure why they don't feel right. And it's not until together we dismantle it that they start to realize what they let steal their peace, what they let hold on to them, what past ideas they let hold them hostage. And that's what happens. Those old ideas, those old ways of thinking, you let hold you hostage. And that's what not letting go does, is it holds you attached to the past of thinking that's how something should be. That's how you should be. So much of life, as we all know, is change. I say the only constant in life is change. And yet so many of us resist change. We don't want it. We want things to stay exactly the same. Well, unless things are really bad, and then you really want things to change. But then maybe you're determined it should change to a certain way. And that's what letting go offers you, is letting go of this attachment to how things should be. Whenever we attach should to something, it guarantees we're going to feel bad. There's a judgment on it. But all of the processes for you are about change and this willingness to get lined up with what is. Truly is the opportunity for this concept of radical acceptance, accepting what is so that you can begin to allow what's next to come in. When there is so much attachment to how things should be, to not letting go, to believing things should be a certain way, or you should be a certain way, you hold yourself attached to the past, you hold yourself attached to your own suffering and your own limitations. And that really is the opportunity before you to start to look at where you're holding yourself back, where there are things that you want for yourself that you're not allowing yourself to have because you're so attached to how things should be. And it's what I see with my clients, it's what I see with myself, is that whenever we're so attached to how things should be, how somebody else should be, guarantee we will not let it go in our minds. And really, that's where you're doing it. You're letting it go in your mind. You're allowing yourself to not give it so much power over you. I know in my process of change and transformation and committing to my own spiritual path, there were so many ways in which I needed to let go of how I was so that I could become who I was to be. When I first started on my journey towards really discovering what was next, who I was, all the things that were in my way, I shared here, I was a smoker. I was somebody who was, very hooked on diet sodas. There were things in my daily habits that really needed to change, but I was very attached to how things were. Smoking was a big one. I loved what I said was I loved being a smoker, and I didn't want to let it go. And I said at the time it was a choice. I was choosing to smoke. Therefore, I wasn't going to let somebody else tell me I should let it go. But then I got to realize it wasn't really a choice. I was addicted to it. I couldn't choose to not do it. I told myself I could. But that's what I mean. There's a difference between telling yourself you can and really being able to. I told myself I could quit if I wanted to. I just didn't want to. It's a good excuse. It was only when I got to the place of saying, I'm ready, I'm willing to not have this be something that I'm hooked into, that holds me. Only then could it fully be removed from me, and could I fully let it go. And I'm thankful to say that there are decades behind me of not smoking. And so that was one of the things that I needed to let go of. There were many things along the path, and there continues to be. And that's what this is about, is where are you telling yourself, I could let it go, but I choose not to? And yet it's causing, on some level, some suffering, or it's not really good for you. I see it with my clients sometimes around social media. I see it sometimes around recreational drugs. There's an idea that I would let it go, but I don't want to. I choose not to. And I can see that it's not really a choice. And being at choice with something means that you can really not do it for days and days and days and days and days on end. And then see how you feel, and then decide whether or not you want to pick it back up. And I'll tell you, when I first quit smoking, it was not comfortable. Anyone who has ever quit smoking knows that at first you don't actually feel that good. And yet, on another level, I knew that physically I felt so much healthier without it. And it had been such a crutch. Anytime you can't go somewhere without something, which I couldn't, without a cigarette, without a lighter, without something, you know you're not really free. And it's the same thing with anything else that you're picking up, that you, whether it's a thought, whether it's a habit, if you're not able to put it down without it calling to you, you know you're not really free and you're not really choosing. You can pretend you are, just like I did with my smoking. I'm like, I want to be a smoker. Convenient, because I wasn't quitting. You know yourself when you're lying to yourself. And not giving yourself permission to find out what happens when you let it go and what's on the other side. And that's the gift of letting go. When you let it go, you get to feel what freedom really feels like. I know I had a lot of judgments, and it's still something that I constantly work on. It came from a place where we were all really good at judging people. And judgment is one of those things that can be very sneaky. It just happens. And then you find yourself thinking you're right. Again, it's not really a choice when it's just a habitual way of thinking. And the more I've let go of that judgment, I don't know what's best for people. I don't know what somebody else needs to do. I don't know. The more freedom I have, because otherwise that owns you. And it creates that sense of always looking out there as to what's going on, and really is a distraction from your own inner place where you only can make the changes. You can't make the changes out there for anybody else. You can have all the judgments in the world, it doesn't change a thing. Only makes you feel bad. So, what is the thing that you need to let go of? Is it a habit? Is it a habitual way of thinking about yourself? Maybe you hold on to a negative viewpoint of yourself and you're attached to that. I know it's something that for years I struggled with, and it can come and go. That, not believing in yourself, not thinking that what you're doing is good enough or wanted or needed. I know, as I've shared before, as I've been on my ceramics journey of creation, and many things I've created have not been very good, and some of them I love. And it's been really this willingness to let go of my judgment and my idea of where I should be on this journey, or how far along at this point the results I should be getting at this point in my journey. That attachment to how things should be is stifling. And I'd say that is one of the hugest things for all of us to let go of. So I would love to hear, what's the thing that you find yourself attached to in your mind, habit, idea about somebody else, idea about the world? Right now, with all the things going on in the world, it's so easy to hold on to those attachments of how the world should be, or it was better when. But if you find yourself holding on to an idea of the past, know that that is a place that is stuck. Stuck in the past does not allow you to move to the forward into the future, to what is next for you, the good that is next for you. So I look forward to hearing what letting go in your life can do for you. Or maybe you've really found yourself embracing this and you're far along. I'd love to hear what that looks like. So do download the 3 strategies to say yes to you, because it's time to say yes to you. And it's a blueprint that can support you on practices to start releasing some of these ways that you're not saying yes to you and that are holding you back. Thank you for being with me today on Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. For women, great. It's saying yes to others. Not always is great. It's saying yes to themselves. I am Claudia Braun, mindset, lifestyle, and EFT coach for women ready to say yes to themselves. I look forward to being with you next week. And thank you for sharing this with those that you know also could use to have a little bit of inspiration to say yes to themselves. Bye for now.